Param Puja Swamiji, Param Puja Shri Madhusudan Ji, our beloved, respected Narsimha Murthy Ji, Srinivasan Ji, all of our beautiful, beautiful, divine, devoted, love-filled sisters and brothers. What a joy, what an incredible blessing to have you all here with us. I know Bhuvanaji and I had been in touch going back many, many months about the group coming here. And then there was a period of time when you weren't coming, and we were both so sad. And then when she messaged back that Swami's orders were coming, it was just such a great, great joy. I'm so touched and so filled with gratitude to have you all here. And it's beautiful because I come from America, and as I mentioned in the Aarti last night, these days are the Thanksgiving holidays in America. It's the time where everybody's focused on giving thanks. And the tragic irony of the way that most of us living in the West were raised and indoctrinated and inculcated with teachings that really don't bear so much relevance to a divine life is that first you get things and then you can be thankful, right? That's how it works. I give you something, you say, thank you. If I'm feeling polite, I say you're welcome. But the giving of it comes first, and then the thank you comes afterwards. And the dilemma with this way of thinking is that we never have enough. There's never enough in our lives when we're looking for things from outside for us to ever feel full and done. When you talk to most people in the West about this exquisite practice of gratitude, you know, every evening in our Ganga Aarti ceremony, Puja Swamiji always says, this is our Thanksgiving ceremony. But most people have this sense of, well, I can't give thanks yet because I've got this problem and this hasn't happened yet, and I haven't achieved this yet. And first let God or someone take care of this problem in my life. First let my kid graduate from school and get into the right college, and then let them graduate from the right college and get the right degree. Then let me make enough money. Let me overcome this illness, this challenge. Let me marry, Prince Charming or Miss Universe or whoever it is. And then I'll be really grateful. The problem with that is that we've got it all backwards. The practice of gratitude is that which aligns us with the truth of our existence, and therefore brings us everything that we think we want. So as long as we are thinking, first I'll get, first I'll achieve, first I'll acquire, first I'll overcome, then I'll be grateful. We have it backwards, and we will never be able to actually bask in the gift and the blessings of gratitude. Gratitude is something that comes first. It's gratitude for the presence of the divine. It's gratitude for the ability that we have, regardless of whether we live on a street or we live in a mansion, regardless of whether we eat in a soup kitchen or we eat handouts that someone's giving us, or we're eating in a 5-star restaurant. Regardless of any of that, we all have the only thing we need for gratitude, which is the ability to experience the presence of the divine within our hearts and in our lives. And when we have that experience, we have everything. This is why in the tradition in India, and in fact in so many other religions all over the world, the enlightened mystics, the sages, the rishis, the prophets, were those who had nothing. Even in some cases, like the Buddha, for example, came from everything. Came from a palace, but wandered with nothing. Because when you have that connection with the divine, you have everything. And so the practice of gratitude is really us stepping up to the plate of the responsibility in our life. Gratitude is not, oh, thank you for what you've given me. Gratitude is thank you. Period. Thank you. Just thank you. It's not thank you for something. It's not thank you for what you've given me or done for me. It's just thank you. That presence of the divine, that experience of love is everything. When we were welcoming Puja Madhusudanji here to the ashram, and as we were walking, and so many people were offering flowers and offering light and in the path, and he said, you know, their devotion and their love, and I said to him, this is the greatest gift. That love, that devotion, that love for the divine in your heart, that gratitude for that which is everything. You know, a lot of times when we think about abundance and prosperity, or we're praying to Mahalakshmiji, that vision of prosperity and abundance is somehow something's going to change in the outer world. I'm going to have more, and then I will be prosperous. Then I will have abundance. But what I can tell you is it never happens like that. Never happens. In fact, I'm a scientist by heart, by mind, by love, by academic history. And after I had spent a year and a half in India, I was back in America, and I conducted a scientific study just to prove to my intellectual mind what my heart already knew. And the study was, I asked maybe 10 different people I knew, all of whom were at the absolute pinnacle, the height of their profession. So someone in business who was the CEO of a billion-dollar company. Someone in Hollywood who was a well-known actress. A singer who had a song in the top 10 on the radio. A professor who was a tenured professor at Stanford. A basketball player who was starting for the LA Lakers. All of the different areas of life. People who had reached the top. And I asked each of them, they were all people I knew well, so they didn't necessarily know I was conducting a study. I was just chatting with them. I've come back from India, some by phone, some in person. And in the midst of the conversation, I asked them my real question, which was, are you happy? That was my study. Are you happy? And what I got from every one of them was one of two answers. Either I will be happy when, fill in the blank, it depended from person to person, but I will be happy when the kids grow up and move out of the house and we have some peace and quiet. I finally get the promotion that I've been waiting for. I lose 10 pounds. Whatever it was, but I will be happy when. Or I would be happy if my husband would work less, the kids would clean up their room, I didn't have to commute so long in so much traffic to the office, I could squeeze back into the skirt I wore last month. But every single one of them, people who were at the absolute top of every one of their areas still had one thing between them and happiness. And what I want to emphasize to you today is, as long as there is something, anything between you and happiness, you are poor. It doesn't matter how much money is in your bank account. Doesn't matter how big your house is or how big your car is. And what I witnessed in India was the exact opposite, which was what had been the foundation for my study, which was that here on the banks of Ganga, I had met so many people who lived so far below the Western standards of poverty. People who had, by my conception, nothing. They didn't have shoes. They wore the same clothes day after day after day. But people who all they wanted to do was share. All they wanted to do was give. People who every time you said to them, "How are you?" the answer was, "Bas, Bhagwan ki kripa." Just, it's God's blessings. Just Ma Ganga ki kripa. Just Puja Swamiji ki kripa. It's just blessings of Mother Ganga, blessings of Puja Swamiji. That is abundance. That is prosperity. The inner awareness that my cup runneth over. That is abundance. And that is what our spiritual path gives us. That's what bhakti gives us, devotion, love gives us. Because in love, you don't need anything. In love, love is enough. There's food, fine. There's no food, fine. Shelter, fine. No shelter, fine. My favorite way of thinking about this is imagine you're on a train. And you've got some place to go. You've got an important meeting on the other end when this train arrives, something you really want to achieve. Now suddenly the train breaks down. You're stuck in the middle of the tracks. You have no idea how long it's going to be, but it seems like it's going to be a long time. You're going to miss the meeting. You didn't think to bring food because it was supposed to be a short train ride. You have nothing. Now think about how frustrated and annoyed and impatient and all of that you're going to start being sitting on that train. Oh my God, I'm supposed to be here, supposed to be there. Now imagine exact same situation. But instead of being alone on the train, you're sitting next to someone you've just fallen in love with. Okay? Now, suddenly, you've got all this time to just stare into the eyes of the beloved. All this time to just talk and be together. Now see the difference of the felt sense experience of being stuck on that train. Now suddenly the train moves, doesn't move. Even when it finally starts to move, you'll notice there's that little sense inside of, oh. Because more important than reaching where you were supposed to go was that experience of time with the beloved. That is abundance. That experience of there is nothing else I need. There is nothing else I want. My cup runneth over, my heart runneth over, and all I want to do is share and give and love. And this is where when Swami taught us, be good, do good. Be divine, do divine. Right? It wasn't an instruction that you need to put on a sticky note on your bathroom mirror to remind you of. It wasn't a to-do list. Tick, today, been good. Did good. Been divine, maybe, sure. Did divine, yeah, sure, I did good work. It's not that. The teaching is a teaching. The instruction is an instruction, or adesh, as we say. From the enlightened gurus, adesh is to realize the truth of who you are. There is no other way to always do good, be good, do divine, be divine. You'll do it sometimes, you'll lose it, you'll remember, you'll lose it, you'll remember, you'll lose it. The only way to really have it continually, so it's not just reminders on Post-it notes, is to actually realize the goodness, the divinity, the capital G goodness of who you are. Because then you are just being you. And you don't need a sticky note to remind you to do it. You don't need to tick it off a list. You're just being you. And this was Swami's way of making us remember who we are, which is divine. And when we are divine, we have everything. We are everything. And then goodness just oozes out of us. You turn on an air conditioner, what does it give you? It gives you cold air. Why? Because that's what it has. It's an air conditioner. You turn us on, what do we give? Goodness, divinity. Why? That's who we are. So if we take this teaching, and instead of thinking of it as yet another to-do list, but we take it as the Adesh, the Sandesh, the Updesh for our lives. Remember, you are divine, which means you are full, you are whole, you are complete, which means gratitude, love, devotion, all of that which stems out of an experience of fullness just is who you are. And therefore, of course, it is what you do. It's such an extraordinary blessing to have you with us here on these beautiful sacred banks of Mother Ganga. And I pray that next time it will be an even longer trip. As our most revered Puja Madhusudan said when he arrived, when Puja Swamiji said, "Welcome home," and he said, "Yes, it feels like home." So when it's home, we hope that you will have more and more homecomings throughout the year.